In this product review, I'm going to be discussing the Hogue Handall rubber grip sleeve. This one is specific to the Ruger LCP. As you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I've recently purchased a Ruger LCP, so I'm in the process of upgrading it to serve as my summer everyday carry gun. Now, the Hogue grip sleeves are specifically designed with a special contoured shape that hugs the contours of your gun. This exclusive shape gives a secure fit with no loose spots. It also gives the handle the tightest and most secure fit to your gun possible. This design is superior to a simple tube slip-on sleeve for numerous reasons. One, it's custom tailored for your specific gun, and this one in particular actually has a pin on it. So once you slip it into place, you put this pin on, which secures this onto your firearm and keeps it from moving around. Now, the installation of this is going to obviously require a punch, possibly a small hammer, as we're going to be removing, on the Ruger, we're going to be removing, I believe it's this pin back here, we're going to be removing and replacing it with one that ships with this grip. Now, the grip sleeve costs about $10. I've used Hogue rubber grips on numerous different firearms. They've always provided the grip surface I'm looking for and the longevity that I've been looking for, so they don't just fall apart over a year or two of use. Now this one, this packaging, let's see, okay, so we've got ourselves a grip sleeve, we've got ourselves a piece of paper. So this blue piece of paper, what does this? This is the installation, which I won't cover completely, but it discusses the installation about removing the frame insert pin. And there's also the hammer spring seat that also needs to be removed on the firearm. And I believe that is this piece right here. And I believe by pushing in here, this piece will come out. I'll take a look at that in just a moment, and we'll discuss that and how to get it installed. So first look with this grip sleeve. It obviously is a form-fitted rubber material. With this plug down here removed, there's a hard plastic insert down here that will insert into the gun. And then, of course, we have this pin right here. Other than this hard surface down at the bottom and up here, this is rubberized right up to about right there. And then this is hard plastic. The rubber feels good. We've got good texturing here. And then, of course, there's the logo. No texturing right there. Very ingenious design, the way they've incorporated hard plastic and rubber for this design. I am quite impressed with this. Normal slip-ons have a tendency of moving around on you. They move up, they move down, they rotate left or right. So you've got to adjust them. They require a certain amount of adjustment over a period of time. This one, with this hard plastic insert down here, which actually goes into the gun, and this pin right here, this isn't really going to move. So this is a lot better than a generic slip-on sleeve. Because it's custom tailored specifically for the Ruger LCP. The installation instructions, now, of course, this piece down here is removed by pressing down on this. There's a tab, I do believe. Of course, I don't have anything right in front of me. Let me get what I need, and we'll see if we can start the install. Okay, using a small punch, I did this off camera because I've never done it before. You press down in this opening here. You don't want to press too hard, but you press down in this opening, and you got to kind of use two hands while you're pressing, and you work this plug out while you're pressing down, and it will slide right out. You don't have to worry about losing any springs or anything popping out. This will just, it's kind of pressure fit in there, and pressing down on the inside of there releases it so you can slide it out. So use a small punch or something that will fit inside of there. So that's the first part of this installation, is getting this cap removed. The next part will be removing this. I don't know exactly how this comes out. I'm going to take a look at this off camera, and then I'll come back and talk about it. Okay, although this wasn't specified in the instructions with this Hogue grip, basically the instructions say, using a suitable punch, remove the frame insert pin. I wasn't sure if these pins were tapered or had a specific installation direction. I did a little bit of research and discovered that these polymer pins, that while they're not necessarily tapered, they have one end, being this end, which is smaller than the other end. So the easiest way for me, what I basically did for removing this, with the gun facing in this direction, the pin is like so, and I hammered out this end. So the left side of the gun is the gun I hammered out, and that has the thin end of the pin, and it came out real easy. I didn't have to hammer hard. So it does appear that it does make a difference. I did not try hammering it out the other direction. It may not come out the other direction, I don't know, but my research indicated that I should hammer the pin out from this direction, and it came out real easy. The pin is not damaged, and the frame is not damaged. The punch, I used a 1/8 inch punch, and of course this was elevated. I have multiple different types of Delrin blocks for pin removal, and I just used one of my AR blocks to support this and give me a hole so I could pound the plastic pin out. So not a real complex chore to remove the pin. You just need the punch and a hammer, and pay attention to what direction the pin comes out. Okay, so with that done, our old pin, our punch, set that aside. So now the gun is prepped, or now the Ruger LCP is prepped. We've got this bottom piece removed, and we've got our frame pin removed. So now we're ready to move on to the installation of the Hogue grip. The Hogue grip comes with a replacement pin. And again, this pin is very similar to the OEM pin. It has one narrow end, and it has one thicker end on it. The instructions talk about installing the grip and inserting the frame pin. And it does say to insert the narrow end first, but you can insert the narrow end from either side of the pistol. The instructions state, since there's a small channel right here, and since we have a hard plastic insert, we're supposed to get this I see. According to, I'm trying to read the instructions while I'm trying to do this and keep it in frame here for you. I believe this is the proper way to do this. We get this end on first, and then we slide this down because we're going to want to get this seated correctly. And okay, so that slid right up into that channel, and then this slides all the way up like so. Let me take a magazine. Okay, fitment is good, magazine locks into place. Right off the bat, this is very comfortable. This makes the grip surface better. It's thicker, and I believe all of this extra rubber molding here is going to aid in absorbing some recoil from firing such a small pistol as this. So that's the installation. Now, let's see. I know I'm not done installing this, but I'm just kind of double checking everything. Right off the bat, getting to the magazine release. The magazine release, not sure if we can capture that. The magazine release is kind of flush with this grip right here. In some situations, these magazine grips, when they stick out, especially on inside the pants holsters, they can get pressed, which would release the button. So if you go to pull your firearm out of the holster, the magazine falls free. This grip is actually thick enough to add a little bit of protection so the magazine release button doesn't accidentally get pressed. So I like that. You still can hit it with your thumb easy, but it's not sticking out as far. So this is going to aid in protecting from accidental releases of the magazine, and at least it would appear that it would aid in that. So I've checked the magazine fitment and everything else. It's fully seated. The next thing to do is to verify here that the Hogue grip is actually lined up with the holes in the firearm. And then you would take your new pin, which would be this one, the narrow side first. And that's pretty easy to tell if you hold this in your hand. We get it started and then hammer it flush. So I'm going to actually go off camera and hammer that in using the 1/8 inch punch. According to the instructions, you can hammer this from either side. I actually hammered out the old pin in this direction, so when I install this, it's actually, I'm not going to install it this way, I'm going to install it this way. So I'm going to pull that out. So this is the direction I'm going to install it. So we stay with the flow of how the pin was originally installed. So I'm going to flip the pistol over to the right side, and I'm going to hammer the pin down. I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be back. Okay, a few taps with the 1/8 inch punch and a small ball peen hammer. The pin goes in very easy. You don't really need to pound on this. You just need to make sure that the actual Hogue grip, the holes in the Hogue grip are lined up with the holes in the frame of the Ruger LCP, and it goes in fairly easy. When it gets to about 1/8 inch left, you'll have to put a little bit more force on it to pound it in, but it's not like a metal roll pin on an AR or anything like that. It's real easy. So the installation here was real easy. You do need a few tools to get this done. The grip extension doesn't interfere with the slide, and of course the magazine locks into place, drops free, plenty of clearance. This magazine has the Pierce pinky extension on it. There's no clearance issues with that either, so it works just fine. The flat floor plate should work just fine as well. I don't have a magazine with a flat floor plate on it anymore. Very comfortable. Definitely adds a little bit of girth to the grip, which will help with shooting, and in wet weather conditions this is going to be a little bit easier to hold on to if you happen to be using this in wet weather conditions. I've tested this off camera in several different holsters, and the Hogue grip doesn't appear to cause any type of interference issues with any holsters. For example, this is a little leather holster I use. No issues there with this holster. So that's my review of the Hogue Handall grip sleeve for the Ruger LCP. The instructions were good, except for the fact that they didn't include which direction to hammer out the frame pin. I had to go and find that out on my own. It would be nice if those instructions included that, since the pin does appear to go in a specific orientation. Aside from that, the instructions were good. The product fits good. The fit and finish of the product is good. I think Hogue's got a winner with this product. It's definitely a much nicer rubber sleeve than just the standard slip-over ones. So those are my, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. It's good to go. I like it, and that is a good investment for approximately $10 to make this gun fit better in your hand and more comfortable to shoot at the range.